ball, bloody hell.
Hello guys, I hope you're well. Welcome back to another episode of Red Devils Digest, where today we don't have to stress about speaking about many games, or at least only one stressful game, and I don't think we actually performed badly in that game. And with Gavin, I'm hoping Kyan's going to join soon. However, if he doesn't, I will drop him a message after the stream, and I do apologise the fact that he's not here right now on his behalf. How are you, Gavin?
I'm good, thanks, mate. It's nice to have a weekend of football where we're not getting stressed. Don't get me wrong,
sure.
I would like us to be in the draw in the next round, you know, watching Chelsea dispatch Middlesbrough the way they did. I even tweeted it, so that's how you beat Borough. So it was a little bit annoying, but, you know, we'd have probably been knocked out by Chelsea anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. And we have got some positives to talk about, despite having to talk about the Atletico Madrid game. The topics we're going to be speaking about today, they are quite, I have mentioned last week, they will be quite limited in the sense of we're not playing on the weekend, so we've not got too much to talk about. And there also hasn't been too much news, which in a way I'm happy about, because we're not constantly reading news all day, every single day at this point. So yeah, exactly. I feel like there's been quite a lot of news over the late afternoon today. So from, let's say, from 4 o'clock to just now, there's been quite a lot of news, but I don't think there's been anything of huge significance said, especially in regards to transfer news. So we're going to be speaking about manager news, the Ranić quotes about Atletico Madrid game, the review of the Atletico Madrid game, and we're going to be speaking about Ronaldo, a section on his own as well. There are currently 0 people in here. However, I'm not sure whether that's accurate, as I was told Robbie was going to be watching. We'll get into the manager. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just agreeing.
Oh, okay. That's good. We'll get into the manager news, and it does seem like Ten Hag is the preferred candidate. There's a quote from Pass V about Erik Ten Hag. I do apologise if my connection's dropping, by the way. I have got a notification saying my connection is low right now. And Pass V says about Ten Hag, he is possessed by his job. It's insane how many hours he puts into it. He wants to control everything, and he sees everything. For him, the goalkeeper is essential in the start of the build-up, even under the highest pressure. I love this. Before we get into anything, before we get into the goalkeeper bit, the first bit, now I can name just a few. These loads of managers, successful managers that are obsessed, but I can name just a few. Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, Sir Matt Busby, Cruyff, all very successful managers who were, and Pep Guardiola as well, I should mention, who are absolutely obsessed with the game of football. And to be fair, I would prefer, in a way, a chilled out manager, because he's just chilled out. But this squad, and at Man United, we need someone in this current situation that is very hands-on. Now, just the first bit of that quote where he's very possessed, he's very obsessed, he's constantly reading football books, he's constantly studying the game, watching games back. I've spoke to an Ajax fan as well in DMs who has said, when they won, I think it was when they won against Spurs. When they won against, I can't remember who they won against. It was in the Champions League. I think Real Madrid 4-1. And half an hour after that game, half an hour after Erik Ten Hag got home, he was watching the game back. Half an hour after he got home, he just sat there with a glass of wine and watched it back. He didn't do anything other than, he didn't celebrate it or anything like that. Well, I assume he did, but he watched it back. Now, do you think this is a great thing for Man United specifically?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. We need somebody who, you know, they don't rest on their laurels. They analyze the game. They see, was there anywhere that they could improve? Is there anybody who was out of position or needed to step up? Anybody that was doing a good job, and focus on them? Him working under Ranić, I think it would be a dream team, because you've got somebody working with the team who can implement a philosophy. And then you've got Ranić, who's worked with the current players, who could say, right, look, this is what's going to fit your philosophy. This is what's not. And then he can say to the board, right, we need to shift these players. And these are the sort of areas that we want to bring in and the type of player that we want to bring in. Doesn't have to be a Galactico, it doesn't have to be a Ronaldo level, Lewandowski level, even a Harry Kane level, but it's finding people in positions that fit this philosophy that are going to be willing to work at whatever it is Ten Hag works on himself, and that will adapt to that philosophy. Because if we've got a group of players who are sort of not putting the energy into their game at present, well, they've got two choices. They either step up or they step out.
Yeah.
We can't have any hangers on. We can't have anybody that's just going to be here for the paycheck. We need to have players in that squad, even the ones that are on the bench, who are part of a squad. You look at Sir Alex's teams, the guys that were on the bench wanted to be on the field, but they were never, ever in a position where they were complaining about not being on the field, because all they did was improve themselves in training, in their personal life, in their private, everything that they were doing as a sportsman to basically compete with the players that were on the pitch. And there was this, although it was competitive between the players, they were united as a team.
Yeah.
You saw that the players that came off the subs bench literally were just like an almost straight replacement. And the energy levels and the knowledge of what they needed to do, it was there. I don't see that when you look at our bench right now, that if you took off a player,
Yeah.
that the replacement would
I agree.
be
I,
A, of that quality, and
I
B,
completely agree.
yeah. So
Me and my uncle are often like obviously I'm sure you're the same when you're watching the game. So let's say we're watching Man United versus Atletico Madrid. Let's say we're watching that. Let's say it's on tonight and we're watching the exact repeat of it. However, we've not seen it before, if that makes sense.
yeah,
And we're looking for a goal somewhere. We're looking for something somewhere, and we've got some players on the bench. They're all right. They're not terrible players, but you're looking on the bench and you say, who have we got on the bench? And we've said this for 2 years now, in the sense of you shouldn't need to ask who's on the bench previously under Sir Alex. And I know it's going to sound a bit mad me stating this player. However, he was a great player off the bench. Chicharito,
yeah. Oh,
Javier Hernandez,
yeah.
unbelievable player off the bench. I loved him. And you can say, yeah, we've got him on the bench. We can bring him on, even to an extent for a few months. It was Michael Owen. Yeah, we can bring him on off the bench. And you always had someone.
Was exactly the same,
Exactly, Solskjaer was exactly the same. One of my favourite players in United's history. He's exactly the same. Yet we're sat there asking, we needing to check who's on the bench, if that makes sense. We're needing to be told, and we're having to check ourselves and thinking, how can they impact the game? They can't impact the game, etc., etc.
We don't have the game changers. We don't
Yeah,
have.
no,
Yes, we've got youth, which is brilliant. We have got people coming through. But when you've got people like Lingard, Mata, those sort of players that are going to be either leaving the club or retiring or whatever, Mata can do a job. He's still got the football IQ. He's still got the touch. He's still got the quality in his feet. He just hasn't got the legs. But are we really looking to the bench and thinking, right, we'll bring Mata on. He can change the game.
absolutely. I completely agree.
Every single position that the players that you've got on the pitch are much better than what you've got in reserve. And when you've got that, if it ain't working on the night, you can't change it. That's going to make an impact, because almost every player that is on the bench is either out of form or just not up to the standard.
No, I completely agree with you. I did forget to mention at the start of the stream, by the way, guys. Kine isn't here, obviously, right now. We haven't had a falling out or anything like that, although we were close to. He's just not here. I don't think he's available right now, so I do apologise for that. But it's always great having Gavin on. Did you and Kenny fall out? I saw your tweets.
He's working on it down the gym.
Yeah, he's probably at the gym. Yeah. We didn't fall out, but it just got a little bit too toxic, so we've sorted it out now. Michael Carrick was the second coming of Sir Alex. We didn't give him time.
I banged their heads together, don't worry.
Yeah, indeed. You've not been active enough. It's like you're the father of the group chat.
I've been spending time with the kids over the weekend, so
of course, yeah, it's needed, of course. But we'll go into the second part of this quote now, and I know there's so much debate, and it isn't just me now that's debating about this. It's a lot of our fan base online, and even in real life, I assume we're having these conversations with the goalkeeper. So for Erik ten Hag, the goalkeeper is essential in the start of the build-up, even under the highest pressure. I love this. This is past beer about Ten Hag. So, and we do know, like De Gea has got his strengths, has got his positives. However, one of them isn't in the start of the build-up. To quote a guy who was sat near me at Old Trafford, I'm not sure exactly where he was, but he was near me. Stop trying to play out from the back, you shit. He said to De Gea and Maguire. He screamed at him, and we all looked round at each other and thought, yeah, he's right. And it's unfortunate, but we can't do that right now. Now, there is news today about Henderson possibly going on loan or possibly going to Newcastle permanently. Do you think we will let him go, or do you think it's going to take time for the manager to decide who he wants, etc.?
I think it's a difficult one at this precise moment in time because there's no doubting that Henderson wants to play. He feels he should be number one. Whether he is number one is debatable. Obviously, there's an argument for both. I do agree that De Gea's distribution isn't great. His short passing is not too bad, but his long passing or hoofing the ball out, it's not great. We've seen glimpses of it where he's passed the ball down the pitch to start off counter-attack or get the ball out to Rashford, and we've seen goals like last season. We saw quite a few where De Gea was playing out from the back with a long ball, similar to what Lindelof was doing, but we don't see it enough. And I do see the definite improvement from Dean Henderson in that sort of scenario. However, I know that people say, shot stopper. But how many points would we have on the board if those shot stops hadn't been stopped? Because I
agree, yeah.
Whether Henderson would have been able to stop them as well as De Gea. And the same with penalties. Everybody was lambasting, De Gea about the penalty. Most goalkeepers who go up to take a penalty aren't great at penalties, and he's not. You didn't save him. It happened in the Chelsea match the other day. But then Dean Henderson went and did the penalties against Middlesbrough and didn't save a penalty, even though he was close to one. So I think the main argument that is a proper argument is the distribution from Henderson and the shot stopping from De Gea. That's where the debate seems to be. And right now, in this moment, where we've got the likes of Maguire, Varane, Fred, and McTominay, even if we had the distribution of Henderson, he's distributing it to those players who aren't. I mean, Maguire can be great with running out with the ball, but he's not great at getting back to defend. McTominay can play forward, but he's not great at doing so. Fred can play the ball, but his first touch is terrible. So, although I do feel that Henderson would improve the distribution and maybe give us a higher line, with the players that we got in the squad, I think those would still impact the goalkeeping situation. So I'd much rather, at the moment, have De Gea's shot stopping to Henderson's sweeper keeper distribution. But Ten Hag, he's the type of manager, like you say, he plays out from the back. He's very similar to Pep in the sense that he like to have control of the ball. He'll like to play through the phases, and he'll like to keep it where basically the ball is in our possession and we move from the back to front. I don't know whether he's going to be looking at De Gea as that kind of player, or whether he's going to say, well, I need a centre back who is fast, put them next to Varane. We can play that high line, and then you can have Henderson, because it allows you to play forward. You can leave the sweeper keeper at the back, because you know that if the ball goes over the top, if the defender doesn't get it, the goalkeeper will. So
yeah, I can see that. There's a lot of factors to it. There is, and I do agree with you in the sense of with De Gea, without a shot stopping this season, we'd probably be, God knows where we'd be. We might be in relegation zone, but I feel like there's always room for improvement, and I'm sure De Gea probably knows that himself, to be quite honest.
Well, he had a terrible season last season. You know, he was learning goals left, right, and centre, stuff that you'd normally expect him to save. So this season there has been improvement, but I think if he's going to stay as number one next season, he needs to now progress. Yes, okay, he's a great shot stopper. Now see if you can improve your game moving forward. It's telling that he's been left out of the Spain squad. Don't get me wrong, he doesn't usually get picked, but he's usually in the squad. So for as good as he is at shot stopping, obviously the manager has seen something, like you saying about, you know, the sweeper keeper coming out, the distribution, that kind of thing. So if De Gea wants to stay as number one next season under Ten Hag, I think in the summer he needs to improve that aspect of his game.
Definitely, I agree with you there. Kenny got too toxic, bloody hell, he did. Whereas Kane, I'm going to be honest with you, I have absolutely no idea where he is. I've not spoke to him today except for like one message.
He's probably in his bedroom with a lad mag.
Something like that. But yeah, he's probably at the gym or something like that. But me and Gavin, well, we're always going to be here, aren't we? Even if Kane can't be here, or isn't here right now.
He does do football on him today as well. So
he does. Although I think he quit that, but I'm not sure. 22nd in League One, Man United fan talking would beat you as well. Morecambe probably would beat us. Hold on, Morecambe fan. I'm mod on like 6 other channels anyway. You will get mod back eventually. You were just being a little bit too toxic with it. So we need a complete goalkeeper that is great at everything, like an Alisson. Henderson ain't that, and neither is De Gea. Right, on to this.
You know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That no player is unable to progress. One of the things that's happened with our players over the last, 4, 5, 6 years is they've got to a level and they've stayed at that level. There's been no kick on, you know, with regards to the likes of Rashford, with even Greenwood to a certain extent. These players seem to have got to a level and then peaked. Well, would they peak or would they go further if they had somebody like a Pep or a Klopp? You know, you look at the players that have gone to Man City or Liverpool, Mane, when he went from Southampton, you know, that kind of where he was to where he is now. Jota, as much as we can't stand it.
Oh, I hate Jota so much. I'll rant about him all night.
Where he was with Liverpool to where he is now, there's progression. I don't see that enough with our players. If Dean Henderson can improve his shot stopping, or if David De Gea can improve his distribution and control of the sort of area behind the defenders, then there's no reason why one or both of them can't fight for that first. place. You know,
No, yeah, I completely agree.
this is
If let's say let's say De Gea and Henderson aren't the answer. Let's just say that. Let's just say in a scenario, what goalkeeper do you think is that will be available and that is not Alisson? I do apologise for my microphone keep dropping.
a difficult one. I don't know who's available in the summer. That's the problem.
Jose Sarr, I think, is a good goalkeeper.
Yeah. What from Watford?
From
Wolves.
Wolves. Yeah.
Sorry, Wolves. Yeah, he's a keeper. He is. I don't know who's available this summer.
I don't know. I'm not expecting like a.
I'm not too hot on goalkeepers this season.
No, I'm not.
I haven't seen any come up. But I mean, maybe we could do a deal with someone where we do a swap with either David De Gea or Dean Henderson for another goalkeeper and do it that way. Where
I've got a feeling we're going to end up with 4 goalkeepers again. I've just got a bad feeling.
I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, one of Dean Henderson and it was to go in the summer, and it never happened. I mean, everybody was talking about Dean Henderson going to Newcastle, was it?
I think it was Newcastle, yeah, and Ajax as well. Funnily enough, Ten Hag wanted him.
That would be perfect for him. That would have been absolutely perfect for him because he could have then put him in pole position for when Ten Hag.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
he was made promises, just like a number of players were made promises.
Oh yeah.
You know, these players.
I don't believe this Dean Henderson thing was. I don't believe it was any of the coach's fault, to be honest. Solskjaer, McKenna, Carrick, all feeling. I don't even believe it was Henderson or David De Gea's fault. Henderson just had COVID and it didn't, and it just plans changed.
He was going to be number 1, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he got COVID on the first day of the season, and then at the end, and De Gea was good at that. He was playing well.
He was on fire.
Yeah. I remember that West Ham game when he saved that penalty. Oh my god, the way I celebrated that.
I was screaming.
Yeah. I felt so empty when they got that penalty. I'd rather Henderson starts for at least next season because we need other positions. I agree with that. We goalkeeper isn't our priority. However, it's I believe it is an issue in the team, and Ten Hag will want to sort of address that issue. In my opinion, we have so many.
I do think that one of the options is to allow one of the goalkeepers to go, and it sounds like they're leaning towards Dean Henderson, and bring in someone like a Sam Johnson, where you've got somebody there who doesn't mind being a backup goalkeeper, if you know what I mean. Somebody who's quite happy to not be number 1, because right now, understandably so, Henderson wants to be playing. He wants to be number 1. Everybody was saying about him being England's number 1, and then his career is basically on standby.
He's not playing at all. He's not getting any. He's not getting any chance. I believe he should have had some chance.
Yeah,
like one of games.
Going out of the cup games hasn't helped because that's that was going to be allowing the youth players, the fringe players, to be able to get match time, game time. But going out of all the cups the way we have so early, it's meant that all we've got is the Premier League, and we need everybody who's basically the number 11 to play, and you can't sort of go, oh well, I'll rest them because you've got a player on the bench who hasn't played for a while. It's a risk. It's a
Definitely.
risk.
Definitely. I'm a Bradford fan and fuck Adams. Kenny and I. Kenny's being accused of having a De Gea agenda. Thomas says, "Hey lads, hope you're having a good show. We are so far, thank you." De Gea was at fault for only a few goals and was low-key underrated last season. He wasn't bad. I don't believe he was terrible.
Oh,
that
no,
Everton goal.
It he was making mistakes that you don't expect David De Gea to make. Like he'd go down to put his hands for the ball and
Yeah,
he'd bob over his hands. Goals that were going in like the FA Cup, the Chelsea match. There was un, unexpected goals from
yeah.
him. You
If we're
don't.
looking at it factually, Dean Henderson did have a better season last season than David De Gea, just factually, because
Yeah,
um, Dean Henderson had, was it 13 or 14 clean sheets in 18 games, and he had
yeah,
that
yeah.
terrible game against the Scousers. Of course he did, and I'm not just going to dismiss that out the window. It was terrible, and I was slating him for it.
I still have nightmares about that positioning for that Salah goal.
Oh, it was
Still,
awful. But
but
yeah,
people seem to forget that he is still young. He's still learning. He's
yeah,
still
exactly, yeah.
free. And you can't hold him to the same standard of De Gea, who De Gea, he's in his 30s. He's going to be, don't get me wrong, he's going to be in his prime, so to speak, because a goalkeeper, they tend to mature
Yeah,
around about late 20s, early 30s. Look at Buffon. But I don't think that Dean Henderson should be, criticised as a whole for that one mistake.
no, I
That
agree.
one match where, yes, he had a stinker, but the whole team did.
Yeah, it's De Gea. Sorry, Henderson. He is constantly criticised for that one match, and
Yeah,
I always do feel like saying you can't base his whole career so far off of one match when there's many other matches to go off. Because at the end of the day, you could base anyone's career off one match. Everyone's had a stinker at one point or another. First player Ten Hag going to kick out is Maguire. I do believe that Maguire may not suit Ten Hag's system, so I don't think we'll sell him, but maybe he just will become surplus to requirements, so to speak. De
yeah,
Gea,
agree.
and it is, to me, it is sad because I'll back all these players. I'll back De Gea, I'll back Maguire, back Wan-Bissaka, despite Wan-Bissaka's now being what England's 10th choice right back. I'll
I
back them
think
all.
I think I'm at a point now where this season has sunk to such a low that I've got frustration inside me, not an anger, but a desire to basically say, right, enough is enough. Now, there's no, but I like him as a player or I like him as a person.
No, yeah,
It's got to be about Manchester United. It's
I agree.
got to be about the club as a whole.
I agree
We
completely.
cannot have loyalty to a specific player based off of our own love for that player. And I've seen you talking about Rashford on Twitter. This isn't Maguire specific. This is right through the squad, and I think we need to just be not ruthless, but more stern in the way that we
Yeah,
approach this team. We shouldn't be having people who are there either on price tag or name or past merit.
I
We
agree.
should be doing it on now. On Are they performing right now? Are they putting on that badge and giving everything they got for that badge? If not, then they sit it out or they go, because we can't spend another season going through it like this.
Same thing. Yeah, we can't have another season like this.
No,
I'm just going to interrupt you 1 second.
yeah, go.
Um, we have had some bad news over the past, well, just literally now. I've just seen it been tweeted. I will share the screen, and it's quite bad news. The leader of the Manchester United supporters club of Ukraine. I will take us both off the screen for there. The leader of the Manchester United supporters club in Ukraine has been killed in the war. I will bring Gavin back in a second. However, obviously I want to say rest in peace to him, and I hope his family are okay and manage to sort of get some form of comfort or anything like that. And rest in peace to him. And thank you for all of the work that he's done for the supporters club there in Ukraine. No, I am sorry for interrupting there. I feel it was necessary to speak about that, though.
I'll echo that, and oh man, it's horrible.
It is.
And
I won't go too political. I just feel it was very necessary to talk about that, as I've just seen United tweet about that.
all I'll say is there are a lot of people who unjustly are losing their life, who through no fault of their own, they're literally innocent. There's
Yeah,
no rhyme or reason for this, and it fills me with sadness, anger, not feeling like I can do a lot.
powerless. We're just so powerless. And
Yeah,
I won't go too political, but I was having a conversation with my uncle, and I mention conversations with my uncle very often, and I'm about to mention another one in a minute. But um, in the sense of it's often us normal, just everyday people, like let's just call ourselves boring people.
yeah,
As we're not in the elite of power. And it's just us versus the elites fighting over land and money and war
brilliant.
and I do hope. Kenny just said his name. I'm pretty sure Alexander Kukin. I think I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I do apologize. And rest in peace to him, and thank you for all the work that he did with the supporters club over there in Ukraine.
Yeah,
Um, the reason why I felt it was very necessary to talk about was because United have just tweeted about it. I wouldn't want to ignore something like that,
no, no.
especially if they've just tweeted about it.
We have one of the biggest fan bases in the world, if not the biggest. And yes, I mean, we've had many a discussion about match going fans and the fans around the world. Manchester United wouldn't be the team that the club that it is today without the fans around the world. You
Yeah,
know, the people who can't go to the matches, who put money into the club, regardless of whether they're there or not, who are just as passionate as us in this country. And, you know, people, they see football as more than just a game, a sport.
it's an outlet. It's an outlet for people, isn't it?
Yeah. And the community of Man United fans, it's more than just a mate.
Yeah.
Brings so many people together from all around the world. And even in the chat now, we'll have people that aren't from England that will be from various places. Hopefully they'll pop it
And
into.
even people that are in England as well. You're completely basically the other side of the country from me. Um,
Yeah,
and
Midland.
and without United, we probably wouldn't have ever spoken. So it brings people together, and
Exactly.
it is sad what's happening, but hopefully, um, it can the supporters club can support his family and the
Yeah.
deputy of the supporters club. But we will move on from that. And in response to what you were talking about Rashford, specifically Rashford. And I am planning on, I don't know whether I'm going to do it. I am planning on making a thread about Rashford. There's going to be a lot of quotes about praising Rashford from other people in football, senior figures in football.
Yeah.
However, I think I've mentioned this before. I'm not sure. I was speaking to my uncle. I've had a few conversations about him with it. And with Rashford, he wants game time because he loves this club. However, you've got to earn that game time. And if you
Yeah.
don't earn that game time, and yesterday we had this conversation, and I think we were quite soft, to be honest, with the way we worded it. And the way we worded it was, we can take this good stuff that you can do, and because it's lovely, it is lovely, the good stuff that he's doing outside of football. However, you need to chill with your media team. And I've realized that now. You absolutely have to chill with this. It needs to, like, it may not even be Rashford himself putting it out. It may not, but it comes through his team. It's very clear. My uncle said, and my uncle is someone who is a big supporter of Rashford. Do you know what I mean? We love Rashford and things like that. And he said that he's very clear. He's got a big team around him that are very, very focused on brand before football.
Well,
The team,
that clean image, hasn't he?
yeah,
And I think anytime that there's a hint of negativity that's associated with him, they're straight out. No, 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 no. If you do something bad, we'll apologize. If you do something good and you get criticized for it, we'll put a statement out. And look, the words that he says are very positive in the sense of it's self-aware. It's saying I've done wrong, I'm going to put it right. It's looking at himself in the context of his playing at the moment and not being at the level. But you have got to question whether it's him saying it or whether it's this agency that's saying it, because we know that the players, they haven't got full control of their social media. They've got access to it, and there are times where you could sort of say, oh yeah, they tweeted that. But when you see these statements being put out, it's probably them doing it, but they've been prepped. I mean, even Ranić has had to, the board have brought in somebody, a press, what's it called, to basically speak to him about how to talk to the press.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't. I've missed that somewhere along the line, to be honest.
Where did he come from? Oh, they took him from a different club. Might have been Leipzig, but it was definitely a foreign club. Basically, been brought in to talk to Ranić about how to handle the press and the media and the questions. I think that the board were concerned about how honest he is and how he, there's no airs or graces with him. But I don't know. I do worry about the players and their social media. You see it with Pogba, you see it with Rashford, Ronaldo, Bruno, De Gea. It's sometimes you could sort of go, well, I appreciate it, but other times you sort of go, yeah, I'd rather you just say nothing.
You can put out one statement. I'm not giving it. You can put out one, but then and we can take that. We can support the team when they're putting out a statement like that. But when it becomes after every single loss, you're hearing we must do better. You're seeing it on social media, and we must do this. And the teams are leaking things and things like this, and the PR teams and things like this, and it's like it's relentless. Just like I don't need to hear this. I don't even want to hear this. I'd rather not. I just want you to sort it out between yourselves. It needs to be behind closed doors.
More bouncing than a bloody dam buster's ball.
Indeed.
Bounce back. It's like bounce.
Indeed. De Gea last season will be remembered for the final failure. Ultimately, when it mattered, he flopped. I don't believe that penalty specifically was his fault. I believe he had a bad game, as did the whole team that night, to be honest.
Just look at the Kepa situation with Chelsea a couple of weeks ago. It happens, He was like their penalty saviour. They bring him on. He doesn't save a penalty. Sky's the one that was supposed to be his turn. It can happen, and somebody's got to miss. Somebody's got to, make a mistake. And goalkeepers aren't exactly known for taking penalties. Some are, some aren't. And
I thought Cavani was despite the goal, I thought he was heavily to blame. In my opinion, in the loss, to be quite honest. I thought he made quite a few faults in that game, and I love Cavani, and he just made quite a few faults.
I mean, there was so many factors. I think people just looked at that because that was the loss.
Deciding moment. Yeah,
that was it. It was done. However, we had 90 minutes and we didn't make a substitution, so there's question marks there.
Definitely.
A further 30 minutes where we didn't really make that much of an impact. So over 120 minutes against Villarreal with the players that we've got, we didn't do the work. We didn't get it done. Yes, one of the penalties should have been saved. It wasn't. He probably should have put the penalty away, but somebody's got to miss at some point.
Yeah.
It's just
we shouldn't have let it get to penalties, to be quite honest. It should never have been at that point.
never should have. No.
We were better than them on paper, just not in the game. Their shithousery is another level, though. The Brighton goalkeeper looks good. Robert Sanchez, that's it. I remember. I was thinking, why did they let Matty Ryan go? I rated Matty Ryan, and I understand why they've let him go now. De Gea having bad distribution is a myth. Kicking the ball to Freddie McSam's always going to be.
Well, that's sort of what I was trying to allude to earlier when I was saying it's not just about his distribution, who he's distributing it to. But I think my biggest problem with his distribution is when he's under pressure. You know, it's having that composure to, yes, get rid of the ball, but do so in a positive way where it's not going to just, sometimes, if in doubt, kick it out. I get that. But it's hard, We've seen where he's trying to get the ball out to either Sancho on the wing or Alanga or Rashford.
Can everyone hear me?
And
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Oh,
sorry, my connection is completely. I'm getting
Yeah. Does that mean I get the keys? Yeah. Right. Let's destroy his channel. Come on, Kian. Where are you? Everybody in the chat, can you hear me? Oh, he's frozen. Oh, yeah. What's going on there then? Well, I'll carry on. Am I muted? Hang on. 1 sec. No, I shouldn't be muted. Yep. Am I? Right. Good. Right. So that's Kian gone. Let's have a little bit of fun. Now, Rashford. I genuinely think that Rashford should either get a fresh start and go to a new club and try and do something about this issue that he's got at the moment, or he should just have a break. It is my channel. Yes, it is. Let's trash it. No, wait, somebody beat us to it. Anything, Gavin, take over. 2 right, Ibrahim. 2 right. Rashford. So would you guys sell Rashford? 1 in the chat for yes, 2 in the chat for no. Personally, I think he is somebody that I'd keep in this club, but he's one of those players where it's that merit thing. It's where he's playing on his merit. He's basically one of these, your heart is with him. Your heart is with him, but your head is not. You sort of want him to do well, the player that he is from the past, how he broke through into the team. Yeah, I'm very mixed with Rashford too, Kenny. My heart says go with him. My head, not so much. I'm past the relationship with these players where I love them. I love them, yes, but I also want the club to do well and I want us to succeed. And if there's anybody that's going to be holding that back, then we need to just say, right, look, it's not working. Oh, we got him in the chat. It's all right, mate. Don't worry. I apologize for the connection. Hold on, he says. I think he was in McDonald's with a green screen. Kenny says, I don't like how he wants to start, even though Alanga's been decent. And Rashford's been poor week in, week out. I agree with that. I agree. At the end of the day, Rashford's been starting on merit, on his name. He's basically one of these players where he's only being chosen because of what he used to do. And that's a problem, because when you've got players on the bench like Alanga who have been, yes, it is Thomas. Thomas says the Gavin show. When you've got players like Alanga on the bench, Sancho, who can play both positions, who are doing so much more. Oh, he's back. Ah, sorry, guys.
I have heard how you're talking about me. I'm not even lying to you right now. I am literally on my phone hotspot. I'm literally connected to my phone hotspot. The joys of having a small channel with no studio, eh? But yeah, I do apologise for that.
With a green screen, that's where it
I
is.
heard that. I feel like I am. I can only go through certain comments now. I can only go through
I
the
have been,
comments where.
I
All
have
right,
been through some of them. So
all right. Remember that against the Wi-Fi password team in the use. I can't remember what the name was now. Was it FC Young? Was it Young Boys? Are you talking about there?
yeah.
So I assume Gavin is more preferred than me, so I'll just dip in a minute. I won't really.
We were literally just chatting about Rashford. Kenny was saying that he's torn. He's basically, look, we love him. We know who he is. We know what he's done, but you can't just keep picking him on merit. There has to come a point where he steps out and steps away and lets somebody else step in who's playing better, on form, and give Rashford that chance to just focus on himself. You know,
I won't go too much into the debate about this, but because I feel this could get a little bit toxic, this debate. However, Gary Neville's points on Rashford, I don't know if you've seen today. Gary Neville has hinted towards Rashford and Brandon Williams being at the boxing together and saying it's a bad thing and they need to do it quietly, which partly I agree, but they're not working. Football is their job. Do you know what I mean? They're off work, and when people are off work, they tend to have some like leisure time. Now,
see, I don't have a problem with it because I think that he does need to take off things. He does need to do things that are, relaxing. That's not football. He needs to just have a complete switch off, and then when he comes back, be focused, be ready to put in the hard graft. Not just at the moment, his head is all over the place because he wants to be the player that everybody thinks that he is. He wants to be in the England squad. He wants to be our starting left or right-sided midfielder. He wants to be that player, but he's just not. And I think stepping away, doing something different, having a break, I think that's a positive.
that can help. Yeah, I agree. That can help. It can help anyone having a break from things. It's definitely. And I know I'm currently making steps to have a break from like group chats that got toxic and things like that, and just toxic things in general to have a break, and it's always nice. You make a great point, Kenny, but David is far better. I still think it's opinion, to be honest. I think we should give David one more season. There's still so many positions we need. I agree. Rest in peace to Alexander Kukin. I wanted to get his name right there, so I didn't butcher it. I think this season really is our worst season post Fergie, simply because of the expectation having going into it, having gone through every single one of them. But don't laugh, I'm gonna cry. We should have been through a title race. We should have been in a title race, and look now. It is the expectation, but it's also the club in a football terms, not in like real life terms. The club has just been through quite a traumatic time in the sense of we've sacked a manager, and it was difficult enough to sack Ole Solskjaer. Like whether people wanted him gone, whether we agree how good he was, whatever. It was difficult for us to let go as fans, or some of us. And then we've got an interim manager who yes, we played 8 at the Black, but we won 3 games out of 3 with him, and now we've got another interim manager who's going upstairs, and it's just very traumatic. We've got, and I feel like what doesn't help is the stuff that's all over the papers, the social media, the leaks coming out. It's relentless. It's almost like you can't have a break from it.
Yeah, there's no stability whatsoever.
No, it used to be. With me, it used to be, yeah, United have won. Let's go and celebrate, or let me celebrate. Now it's United have won, but I'm scared which player's gonna say, "Oh, I'm not happy. I've not got some game time this week." And it's
I think I think fans nowadays they expect a win. And I don't think we're anywhere near that sort of team where we can expect a win.
No game is an easy game for us.
Exactly. But we are going to lose matches.
Oh
We
yeah,
can't
yeah.
be winning every single match when we've got everything that's going on off the pitch, on the pitch, in the dressing room. You know, whatever actually is going on, there is division in the fan base. There's literally a disconnect between the board and the fans, the players. Everything is just broken right now.
Yeah, it's all. I wonder how. I wonder. I often do sit there in my bed and think, where did this all go wrong? Like,
Yeah.
because we went into this season positive. We did. We just signed Varane, and I didn't think we were going to sign Varane at first. I was quite skeptical. I was like, I reckon we're going to end up with Pau Torres. We signed Varane. We signed Jadon Sancho. Yes, it was 1 year too late, but regardless, we still signed him. And we signed Cristiano Ronaldo, the greatest player or second greatest player of all time. Like, you can only be positive after that transfer window, surely.
Everybody was.
It just, so many things went just so wrong, and it was so weird. It was like, because it started off very well, and then it just like all exploded right in our face.
I mean, I remember that Newcastle match. Oh
Yeah,
man,
I posted a video of my celebration on it today. Yeah,
I mean, everybody was up and really excited for what was going to come. And then for whatever reason, I don't know whether it was, I don't know, maybe it's a mentality thing. Maybe it's a mentality thing in either the club or the players or as a whole, that when they did pick up a couple of not so great results, we've seen it where we've been playing great, the opposing team score and the heads drop. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's a fragility in the in the players where they can't take the pressure of losing.
yeah,
That
indeed.
as fans, we were expecting greatness. We were not to win the league, but to at least challenge for it.
Yeah,
And they would have felt that, whether it's from the fans in the stadium, social media, they would have felt it. So when they started losing or dropping points, I think they went, ugh, and their heads dropped. And then once their heads dropped, the legs get heavy.
got to be mentally strong.
Exactly, you have, yeah. And I think that's what's happened. I think there's a fragility that goes through the players. There was a fragility that was in the management and the coaching side of things because, you know, although it hadn't been perfect, we had got third and then second, and then everybody was expecting them to take that final step or to at least be on the road to taking that final. So when things didn't go right, I think that's where the inexperience came in, where rather than having the grit and the determination to say, no, we're going to get through this, it just imploded.
Indeed, I completely agree. I completely agree with you. Ramsdale dropped. He's got a hip injury. It's a bit coincidental with footballers getting hip flexor injuries recently, isn't it? I keep seeing hip flexor, and I've seen it from Ronaldo, from Ramsdale, with Tomori. I've seen it with Reece James. I'm seeing it with so many players. What's going on?
Yeah, I'd never even heard of it until
No,
Ronaldo.
neither would I.
Have I
Thomas
got one?
says the breed can it. Actually, before I go off this comment, Thomas is now. I did speak about this on the other day. Thomas is now going to be quite a regular guest on this channel. And welcome to Thomas. On the Premier League game week reviews, on the football debates, we will be doing a football debate with Thomas tomorrow for the PFA Player of the Year debate. And yeah, we're going to be doing debates and football and just general football chat with Thomas. So welcome, Thomas. Ollie has really ruined our season. The form under Ollie ruined our season, definitely.
Thanks, Thomas. Welcome to the madhouse.
Indeed. No, the season post Fergie was built up like this season was. Maybe you could debate Mourinho years, but his first year we won stuff. His second year we finished second, only losing to a machine. Indeed, we lost to what I've got to admit is one of the greatest Premier League sides of all time. We couldn't really have expected much more. Fact is, when Leicester won the league, they won it with the same amount of points. So they had 17-18. Leicester were just a better team, weren't they? In that season, they were good.
Yeah,
Right.
they were. It wasn't just the fact that they were good; it was the fact that the other teams were not so great as well. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
They
Yeah,
didn't really have anybody that was challenging them. They had, Arsenal and Spurs that were sort of there or thereabouts, but it's not like you've seen with the City and Liverpool going up against each other. They had a pretty much free run, and that's
yeah.
not to discredit or knock it or anything. They still had to do what they did. I mean, Jamie Vardy breaking the
Record was it?
yeah, against us for scoring in every single match.
26 games in a row.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And he had to do it against us, and it's like, yeah, cheers, mate.
I remember that. I was eating nachos during that game. This year has been painful from beginning to end, and it exposes a lot of our players. I agree. I thought you were referring to the Sun newspaper, hence why I didn't put it on screen, because I know things like that can get quite toxic. Anyone looking to Vaca, I think that's how it's pronounced. If it's not, I apologise. In Barbados, please stay home. The sun nearly killed me today. Fucking hell. I hope you're all right. I don't know what I can suggest. If it's sun cream, if it's obviously, I know it can be extremely, it can be extremely dangerous, can't it? So, good evening.
After sun, but yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, good evening. I hope you're well, Ibrahim. Jose Mourinho at Man United was underrated. I think the football wasn't, but what he did with what he had was underrated. Yeah, they didn't like Ranić's honesty. Jose, ultimately, it became too toxic and he had to go. I agree with that. But what I do have to say is, would a Man City or Chelsea side have cried like that, collapsed like they did versus Liverpool, 36 to 6 shots? Shaqiri, I remember that game, and I remember the look on Ed Woodward's face, and that was the point where I said, yeah, that's it for Mourinho. He's gone tonight or tomorrow. And my uncle didn't. He wasn't so sure. And I just remember saying, nah, you can tell that's the look of a man who's just done with this guy. He was done with him. You do wonder at Man City with Jose would because he was only at Chelsea. He's had several spells at Chelsea and it's not ended well both times, has it? Despite him winning things there, he's just a chaotic guy.
Wasn't it 3 years he was there and then he'd go sacked, and it always seemed to be the third year that he would get sacked at places.
Yeah. It always seems to be. I never expected Jose to stay here long because I mentioned every single week, why hasn't he bought a house? Why is he still staying in the Hilton, at the Hilton Hotel in Manchester? That to me indicated he's not planning on staying here long.
He never bought a house, wasn't interested.
No. I meant to say, all right, not saving the 11. Mustafa Sir, yeah. I'm not going to read the Sir Alex slander. Ollie was to blame for playing Rashford. Ollie was to blame playing Rashford for that long and taking off 11. Bruno Ghost as a 10, and Pogba wasn't good enough. But Rashford was good last season. He was one of our key players. He was. However, he's just not been this season. I was watching the video of Rashford's interview after the Europa League final last night, and Rashford just he actually admitted himself he's been playing since September with an injury, and it's like, what's going on now with the management, with you, as in Rashford, with people around you?
Yeah, but that's where the player is basically leading club. It's like he's saying, no, I'm all right, I'll play. And they're going, oh, right, okay then. Rather than saying, right, you might think that you're all right or feel that you're all right, but no, you're not. You're injured. You need to sit it out.
It's actually understated that Cavani does this himself. I know he decides not to play, but he does.
We criticize Cavani because he's like, well, my body doesn't feel right. I ain't playing. we criticize it. We're like, well, no, Maguire plays with an injury, Rashford plays with an injury. But then if you sit down and actually think about it, it's like with his
Yeah,
age, he's sort of saying, well, I'm not going to put myself in unnecessary risk of injury. If I feel that I'm not able to play, I'm not going to play. The problem with Rashford and Maguire last season, they played regardless.
yeah,
I don't
indeed, yeah.
them. I don't know whether it was Ollie. I don't know whether it was a collection of the two, but regardless of how they felt, you knew they'd be on the team sheet.
Indeed, yeah. I didn't like how De Gea ignored his notes. Matty Ryan was crap during the final months of his Brighton career. True. Keane just froze. This is the part where I froze. Then did it show me on the screen, or did my screen just go blank?
You froze, but then it cut out, and I was sort of the keys.
I do, but I heard you say, does this mean I get the keys now then? And then it just completely went after that. I wonder whether you were doing some magic wizardry shit to get the keys to it. A goalkeeper's job isn't to score penalties, but ultimately he did miss. Henderson was really bad against Middlesbrough. He was. Like, it was like, surely you're going to save one. Like, just stood there in the freezing cold thinking, surely you're going to save
He was
one, man.
close to the third one. He was close to the
Yeah.
third one. We went underneath him.
But they kept, like, the coaches kept going up to him every single time, and the ref kept going up to him. That can't have
Yeah,
been good for pressure. I didn't understand that. Why do you keep going up to him every single time? Surely he knows.
yeah.
Yeah. We can hear you. So this is when you could hear me. Was you muted for a minute or?
Wasn't sure, but I think it was Mo. He basically said, "No, you're all right. We can hear you."
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, right, Kenny was trolling. It's Gavin's channel now that they were all happy that you were taking over. um, yeah, I'll sell this channel for some. Nah, I'm only joking. I wouldn't.
It was wild for a couple of minutes there, but
You did do from. I only had it on for a few seconds because I didn't even have connection on my phone. My Wi-Fi's gone completely down. So
I'm surprised
but
this late because
it's
it's
good
yours.
software, isn't it? It's very good software. Considering I'm like the host of it being live.
I would have thought that if yours went, the whole lot would go.
Yeah. I don't like how he wants to start, even though I remember I heard you address this comment, didn't you? The Gavin obsession, he's back. The Gavin show, Red Gavin's digest.
Yeah,
Rashford needs to start with his PRSA, PS and focus more on football. I can. I think you've put it in quite harsh words, but I agree with the principle of what you're saying. Although I think he should continue in helping people the way he's helping people, but just stop with the constant news and leaks.
yeah. As a man who loves an old essay himself, it does grate a bit after a while. So yeah,
Yeah, for
I love
sure. Yeah.
an essay, but it's one of
uh,
those. It's wearing thin on the fans, and although I can see why the PR team are putting it out there, we're not idiots, and
No, yeah, you need to stop with this. I know, like you said, in my uncle said the same thing. It's the image, the brand, and a lot of these footballers. It's not just Marcus Rashford, however, he is a big one for it. They're just very focused on their image. Roy Keane's mentioned it, and it's like you need to not care too much about your image. Don't be a horrible person, but just stop focusing on keeping this squeaky clean image because in a way it's actually tainting the squeaky clean image because
I'd
with the
rather,
fans.
I'd rather have somebody who was like Ryan Giggs or Wayne Rooney or Jack Grealish, where they're not exactly the greatest person off the pitch, but that when they're on the pitch, they're
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah,
you can get something out of them.
yeah, for
You know,
sure, yeah.
Wayne Rooney, some of the stuff that he got up to when he was off the pitch, the
And
80-year-old.
George Best as well, like going back many years. So,
Oh,
and
yeah.
imagine that now. Like if we're speaking about George Best, let's look at it on an Mbappe level or a Ronaldo level, and times that by 10. That's how big George Best was. He was world's first ever football superstar,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was to put it in one word, he was a slag. To put it in just one word,
Well,
imagine that now.
Gaza was the same, you know.
Yeah.
The gift
So,
of God, that guy, you know. I got the pleasure of watching him play, and he was just immense. But you look at him off the pitch, and even to the point of how he is now, he's like this frail man who's had a life destroyed by alcohol and addiction and things.
indeed, yeah.
But I would much rather, not so much addiction, but I would much rather have somebody who isn't really that fussed about the image outside
No,
of football.
yeah. We don't want you to go and get up to bad things, and we're not saying go and get up to bad things. Just not care about the image too much.
Focus on the football. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's not to knock the likes of Rashford and what he's done. You know, it's commendable, and it fills me with pride that he plays for our team. You know, I am proud of the fact that he's a doctor, he's got a doctorate, he's an MBE, and the things that he's done. But I also only know who he is because he's a lad through the academy of Manchester United. That's where he started.
Yeah.
You know, so he needs to marry the two. He needs to put as much effort into his playing as he is to everything else. I think there has to
Yeah.
be a balance.
He has got the talent. Like we can't say he's just shit or he's
No,
not.
no, no, no.
He's definitely got the talent. He just needs to try and channel that. Do you think PSG will bottle league in? 21 points lead, became 12 recently, 5 away losses on the bounce. That is terrible form. I don't think it's likely we get Pochettino anymore, to be honest. But that's not information. That's just looking at it from logic. However, I know United board don't think with logic half the time. 5 away losses on the bounce from PSG versus Marseille soon. They'll probably get it, won't they? The other teams around them will drop points. Marseille win that. It's 9 points likely with 6 with PSG's away form. We can still win the Premier League mathematically. Title charges on. That Ollie interview will always make me sad. I've got it on my phone. Oh man. Let's not get started on more Ollie revisionism. Even my uncle, it's annoying my uncle at this point with my Ollie revisionism.
We've got to leave it where it is. You know, we have to start looking forward. And right now, the focus has to be on this manager, and we got to get that right. And then we can start.
I'll back anyone. I bloody back Sam Allardyce if he walked through the door. That's just who I am.
Once they're appointed, we back them. But that doesn't mean that before then, we don't try and make this right. You know, we've got to make sure that the person who comes through the door is going to be right for the club moving forward. And I do think Ten Hag is that choice. I do think that, you know, it's very, very difficult to say whether the board are going to go with it, but everything seems to be pointing towards it. Yes, we will back whichever manager comes through the door, but it would be a lot easier to back them if we know that the appointment is the one that everybody is on board with. There can't be any division. There can't be any waiting for the first.
Have another season like this. It can't carry on like this. It just can't. And it's not. I'm not just talking about the leaks here or the news or the bad results. Everything in general. It all adds up to it's so relentless. It's almost unbearable to a point of like there's no break from it. There's no sort of balance between just watching United and then anything else. It's just constantly there.
Yeah, but it's the same with if Poch was to be our manager and come in, you know that there's a section of our fan base that will be waiting for that one match.
I've already spoke to a few that just will not back him, and I've said surely just as a fan you just back him.
Yeah, they'll wait for that first loss and they'll be on him. See, he shouldn't have come. He wasn't the right manager. So I'd much rather go for somebody when the majority of the fan base are in agreement, and then we can give him the time that he needs.
Definitely, I completely agree. I have a bad feeling the players will flop versus Arsenal, and it'll be a frustrating 0-0. Or I don't think so. I'm not sure. Or 1-0 Arsenal. Arsenal are good though. Players have shown me no reason to think they'll beat sides like this under pressure. They have beaten Arsenal this season though, and
Yeah,
under pressure. That game was a mad game. What would love if PSG bottle league? And, surely that would mean we don't go for Pochettino. Thing is with City that is that they can't go on a run of form like they're going through right now. But they win 15 games on a row. United can't do that. Indeed, you're right.
too
They honestly
interesting.
don't want to play in these useless friendly games. George Best even said himself he only cared about drinks, women, and football. Imagine if United report tweeted that if he was playing nowadays. Can you imagine the immense pressure he'd be under? It's
I,
just unbelievable.
yeah, but he was the type of player that wasn't really fussed. He didn't
No,
sort
yeah,
he didn't care about how people saw him as long as he was enjoying himself, not
yeah,
just off the pitch but on the pitch. And you could see that the lifestyle he had off the pitch influenced his performance on the pitch. You know, he
yeah.
was he was an all rounder in the sense of he was there to entertain off the pitch and on it. So
Yeah, indeed, yeah, and to me, if you're saying who, like, what if you had to describe one, like, let's say 5 players, but and if you had to describe 5 players of what Man United is all about, George Best is in there for sure. Um, the problem lies far deeper than the manager. Indeed,
yeah,
sorry, bro, I was studying and completely forgot. No, it's fine. Studies before football obsession, absolutely.
been looking at that for you. I mean, where were you?
I did send him this stream as well. Right, we're still on the manager news. 1 hour in, and we're still on the manager news. I do apologise. Ronald Koeman is wanted at Ajax by Jordi Cruyff, who is in pole position to become their sporting director. The job attracts Koeman a lot. Eric Ten Hag will leave Manchester. Will leave Ajax for Manchester United this summer if all things go to plan. That's from Fijaz, who is tier 3. And then so this was the 14th, and then there was basically repetitive news for the next 3 days, and then the next piece of news, Samuel Luckhurst says Eric Ten Hag is Manchester United's preferred managerial candidate as it stands. Ten Hag would command. This is still from Samuel Luckhurst's article on the MEN. Ten Hag would command a relatively low compensation fee. Manchester United are impressed by how he has assembled 2 successful teams, either side of the sales of De Ligt and De Jong in 2019. Ten Hag's potential for longevity also appeals. Now, that to me says, yeah, like I think it's very close at this point. From what I've heard today, I'm not sure if you've seen in the group chat that we're in with someone, and he said it seems United is trying to get this done by mid-April, which I sort of was expecting. I know they said the end of the month, but I didn't expect that to happen. It was just too close a time frame to end the manager news. Do you think we will get Ten Hag at this point, or are you still skeptical?
no, I still think that it's more probable that they will go for him. Number
Yeah.
one, money wise, I don't think they're going to have to spend as much money with regards to Ten Hag, because if they do go for Poch, they aren't going to sack Poch until the end of the season. They're holding out that United are going to go in for him, and PSG and say, well, if you want him, he's in contract, you've got to give us money. So I think that is probably what's making them go, oh, well, look, we won't go for Poch. I think that's, if it
Yeah.
wasn't for the money side of things and he'd already been sacked, I think they would have gone for Poch. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
I do believe that they'll go for Ten Hag. I think they'll speak to him in this international break. It's the perfect opportunity. I think Ajax are well aware that he is going to be going, so there's no sort of concern with tapping him up. You know, if it's all going to be above board, especially with the likes of Van der
oh
Sar.
yeah, for sure. Van der Sar's got too much integrity to do anything that's
And they
not
know
by the book.
Ten Hag's feelings. They know United want someone. They know Ranić wants somebody of that ilk. And I just think it's so easy to do in the sense of go and get him. You know, all parties seem to be okay with it. So
Yeah.
it's just going and getting it done.
And
By the
Ten
way,
Hag seems to want to do it.
Kenny, good luck with your A levels later in the year, man.
Oh yeah. Oh right. Sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah. Good luck for the A levels. Did you see the Poch news? I just have seen it now. However, just via the chat, it will cost more than 20 million euros. See, this is the thing for me, which is the deciding factor in the sense of if we get Ten Hag or Pochettino. If Pochettino doesn't get sacked in the next 5 weeks, Ten Hag is going to be the man. I'm pretty sure of that. United seem to be adamant they want to get this done very quickly, or as quick as they can, which is a good decision in my opinion, for sure. Now we've got I'm just going to leave it on a conspiracy theory. I'm not sure whether I've just deleted it. I have deleted it. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to leave you with a conspiracy theory with the manager stuff.
Oh, you do
Pochettino.
conspiracy theory, you do. I tell you.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Again.
All the time. Pochettino saying he wants to win the Champions League. He said this yesterday with PSG. Just screams that he's been told Manchester United are no longer interested. This is from someone else, but I thought, yeah, it's made me think a little bit. Erik Ten Hag could likely be a done deal in principle already. Just that we have an agreement with Ajax not to let any news slip out before the end of the season. As long as Murta and the board know which manager will get, then they can start planning the upcoming transfer window with Erik Ten Hag, despite him being still Ajax's manager. What's important for Ajax is that their players don't find out about it, so it disrupts their season. Yeah. Now, we'll go to the Ranić quotes on Atletico, and also a Gary Neville quote as well. Just one Gary Neville quote. I also think the referee fell for most of those time wasting antics. I can't remember the game in the can't remember the game in the second half for being more than 2 or 3 minutes without being interrupted, which is the worst possible football game to watch for me. I hate it so much. It winds me up so much. We dominated the first half, which I do agree with. We played exactly the way we wanted. Be always on the front foot to keep the game in their half, being aggressive. Could have scored. We could have scored one. Could have scored one goal for sure when we hit the crossbar. Had another 1 or 2 good moments, but in the end, unfortunately, we couldn't convert that energy into scoring 1 or 2 goals. Now we've got one more Ranić quote to get into. However, I'll get your thoughts on the game. I'll give mine first. I think we played very well that first half. Second half, I think the performance was all right. However, we just fell for their shit, We're just not as mentally strong as them, and I don't want to call them little. They're just little. I'm not going to say the word because I don't know whether I can get banned on YouTube for saying that word. It begins with B.
Yeah,
but yeah, and I don't know whether that's true or whether they're just a good side, because Liverpool lost to them 2 years ago too, and that season they won the league. So I thought we played very well. What is your thoughts on the game?
I think we played really well in the first half, but we've done that quite a lot this season, where we have played well for either 45 minutes, 30 minutes here or there, whether it be the first half or second half. And we always seem to, the longer the game goes on without making an impact, the more our heads start to drop, the more the petulance starts to come out. Whether that's Bruno or Ronaldo, or, there are players on that pitch who, there was a time last season where Bruno would be shouting at the players. Now he seems to be directing it to the referee or the linesman.
And constantly at Old Trafford the other day, and I've said it all season, that a few lads around me have agreed with me, despite they must be sick of me saying it at this point. Stop moaning to the ref every single time, and I said it every time I get against that. Move from the ref. You got to move straight on. You got to be mentally strong. You've got to. I know that dog's making you laugh, and it's making me laugh as well. You've got to be mentally strong, and you've got to move on from. You can't dwell on any decisions, any wrong decisions.
It's not going to make him change his mind. He's not going to.
No, that's my point. He's not. You're not. He's made his decision.
Yeah, exactly. Once the decision is made, it's made. If there's going to be any change, it'll come from VAR.
Yeah,
there's no way you can say anything to the ref that he's suddenly going to go, oh, my mistake.
Yeah, I'm sick of it at this point, to be honest. And I rarely say, "Oh, I'm sick of it" with some of our players, but they have to stop it. It
Yeah,
annoys me so much. It's
but
really
I know where it comes from. It comes from he's so frustrated that the team aren't doing what they want to do, and then you've got the shithousery from the Atleti players. It took the
yeah.
rhythm of the game. The way we were playing in the first half, we couldn't play like that in the second half. And Atleti played a brilliant game, even though it was dodgy and crap. They played a real. They just did not let us get any level of flow of, you know.
They've got to be. Do you reckon they're the most like shithousery team in Europe? That they're the most ruthless, like in that sense.
The manager is,
Yeah,
they've won titles that way. They're not the
yeah.
team that they are for no reason. They have got some blooming
And
good
the
play.
fans were very, very good as well. They were a key part when I was there. Just key part in how they perform. They're always behind them, and they're very, very loud as well. In like even with a very loud Old Trafford, we still couldn't like sort of not hear them, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So we've got one more Ranić quote here. We have to play 9 games to play. We have 9 games to play if we want to finish fourth. We have to win most of those games. Most of those 9 games to be realistic. Maybe 7 out of those 9 games, which is not an easy thing to do, but it's our job to finish the season on the best and highest possible note. Do you agree with this quote?
I do. I mean, like I said earlier on, we're very quick to jump on a loss. If the team loses, it's you could see the toxicity in the fan base, but it comes from so much negativity that's on and off the pitch. We
Indeed,
are
yeah.
now in a position where, as a fan base, we know that we cannot afford to drop points at all because Spurs, they're ahead of us. We're on the same games, we're on the same amount of play, 29, but they're ahead of us. We cannot afford to keep dropping points, even if it's a draw, because the teams that are around us, they don't seem to be dropping as many points, especially
Indeed.
our.
Right. We'll go to the Gary Neville quote as well. I feel it. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I was just saying everybody is waiting for Arsenal to do the banter thing where they implode.
I
What if
don't
it
think they will. They've got some stability.
what if it doesn't happen this season?
Yeah, I can't see it happening. They've got some stability, and if we do finish in Europa League, I'll be disappointed. I'll obviously celebrate top four, of course, and not in the sense of it's an achievement, but in the sense of I'm glad we've got Champions League football for our new manager and we can watch Champions League football. However, I don't think Europa League is as bad this specific situation as
No,
it feels.
it is in the sense of who you can go for as a player,
True.
who are you
Yeah.
lose. So if you want to attract the best players, there are some that will come for the project who will come and say, well, okay, fair enough, you're not in it now, but I can help you get back in it.
Yeah.
I'd say the majority of the people that are coming aren't going to do that. They're like, well, we haven't got Champions League
No.
football, I ain't
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah. I
So
can agree with that.
from that side of view, yeah, I can see the importance of getting top four. It's not a trophy. It's not where we want to be.
I don't even think Europa League's comfortable right now.
No, definitely not.
It don't feel comfortable, and it was a horrible feeling that when I was thinking about yesterday, it was hot. It was awful.
Yeah,
I was dwelling on it for over an hour, thinking
Leicester
this.
need to be up for.
I'd rather not finish in Europa Conference League. I'd rather finish lower than finishing Conference League.
Well, we
For
could do
sure.
what Arsenal have done this season, where we've just got the
Why not?
domestic
Yeah,
to focus on.
yeah, and they have done very well. Now Gary Neville, I feel like he's speaking a lot of sense recently, although he's sparking some debate actually, and I agree with some of his points, and I like massively disagree with some of his points. He said, "I don't blame Ralph Rangnick. There's big players in this club. There's big problems in this club. The owners are not good enough. The owners need to sell the club. I've said that all season. It's enough. They have to go." This is via TV2. He said this. We know that. Someone made a suggestion today. I'll end this specific section on this. Gary Neville needs to contact Bex, and Bex could get a consortium of people that could buy Man United and buy the Glazers out. And I believe that probably could happen, but Beckham is concentrated on Inter Miami.
They could do for United what they did with Salford City. Get the class of 92 together. They could all put their own fraction in, and they could arguably, especially the likes of Bex, he's sitting pretty with the money that he's got.
He's got to be one of the most famous people on the planet currently.
But it's not just him, it's Victoria as well, with the fashion, with everything.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm not expecting him to be just the sole provider of this consortium, but they could do similar to what they did for Salford City before United, where they get Scholes, Neville, both Nevilles, sorry, Bex, wasn't Nicky Butt as well?
Nicky Butt is more part of it than Beckham is.
But yeah. So I do feel that they could do something. It's whether they want to. That's the thing, But
I think Gary Neville. I've always felt Gary Neville's aim with owning Salford City is to eventually own Manchester United. Just from the way he's trying to take the club forward, whether that's in 20 years, 20, 30 years, I don't know. Obviously, I know absolutely nothing. It's just a guess.
Yeah, it's whether we can wait that long, because at the end of the day, you're looking at these bidders for Chelsea, and the fact that John Terry is managing to get a consortium together to try and buy the club. Why haven't we got that sort of thing for our club? Everybody knows the trouble we've had with the Glazers.
Indeed,
Gary, he's been vocal about it himself. So why can't they do a consortium where they gather some players, ex-legends, and a potential buyer? We
can only hope like we wake up to this news someday, and I don't know what I'll do that day, but I will probably get very, 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 very drunk.
We're still in the position that even if somebody did that, we've got to
they've got
just going to give it up. Are they?
Yeah, because I could say to you, I want to buy your phone for £200. You could say, no, I don't want to sell my phone. It's exactly the same thing. It's like, unfortunately, we're stuck with these until they decide to sell. And it's very unfortunate. It's very annoying. Elias says Ten Hag will fail. United should give the job to Ralph with these Deadwood players. Any manager will have a hard job to fix Man United, and mass exodus needs to happen. I don't think so. That will happen. Hopefully it does happen under Ten Hag as well. I believe that he will have some form of clear out, surely.
A little bit between him and Ralph. I think
I think Merta as well. I think Merta knows a lot. I think it's understated actually, because he was a key factor in signing Varane from what I've read, and I'm not in any way creeping up his backside or whatever like that.
I think part of the reason that Fletcher is on the bench with Ralph is because they're basically looking at the players ready for the summer. I think it's almost like they brought him in as the interim so that they could assess the players, so that when it came to the summer, they knew who they were going to go with.
I agree. Now, Ronaldo, on to the last section. Ibrahim, if you're still watching, I just want to let you know I will respond to your message. I will respond to your message when I can. It will just be a little bit of a long message.
Hi, Robbie, by the way. Robbie is in the chat.
All right, is Robbie in the chat? Sorry, I've missed that. All right, that's how I'm well, thank you. I hope you're well. Windows TV lets you clipboard. Let's see your clipboard history when copy pasted. I don't think it's actually bad, actually. Cristiano Ronaldo has decided to fulfill the remaining year of his contract with Manchester United. He trusts in the arrival of a guaranteed coach and the reinforcements to aspire to win the Premier League and Champions League next campaign. Maybe that's not going to be our aims, but in the sense that Ronaldo's decided to stay, do you think he has been told that it's leaning more towards Erik Ten Hag?
I think that if that was the case, if he thought it was Poch, I genuinely think that he'd have probably gone Europa League, Poch. Nah, I don't see the ambition of the club, and he'd probably. I think yes, he's missed the Champions League. He'd want to be playing in the Champions League, but if it had to be the Europa League, it is still Europe. And if we brought in a young striker that he could mold, that he could sort of coach and share the role with, I think he would do it. I mean, it would. What I don't understand is we've got him for 2 years with a possibility of an extension for the third. There's this talk of this contract of what was it, 725?
£775,000 per week.
Why would we do that? We've got him for 2 years anyway.
Yeah,
And
it's a bit
option.
confusing.
Why
It is a bit
not?
confusing.
I mean, with the possibility of us not getting top four, let's for argument's sake, right, we're not getting top four. If Ronaldo said, "Well, look, I want to go to a club where I can compete for the Champions League. I'm in my formative years, my last few years of playing. I want to make sure that I win it again before I retire." Why throw money at him and say, "No, please stay, please"? Because what you're doing is you're literally making the same mistakes of the past. You're basically having players stay because you want them to, not because they want to. We did it with Cavani. He's hardly played this season. We did it with Dean Henderson, with Jesse Lingard. Dean hasn't hardly played. I think he's played once or twice. When Lingard's played, he's just seemed not his usual self. So why would you throw that much money when there's so many other things that we need sorting out at a player?
Yeah, it would be a bad decision. Like Ronaldo is Ronaldo and he's amazing, but 775.
But he's already on contract. Why? I don't.
Yeah, I don't get it. We will end the stream there, though, guys. It's been a rocky stream, to say the least, considering Kyle hasn't been here. And also, my connection cut out as well. And Gavin took the keys for a few minutes. And thank you for that. I will be live tomorrow at 4 p.m.
I did say let's trash the place, but somebody already beat it.
I will be live tomorrow at 4 p.m. with a debate with Thomas, and I will be live on Thursday at 7:30 p.m. UK time as well for a Portugal watch along, and that'll probably be it for streams this week, as I'm quite busy. I won't even be able to watch the England match on Saturday. I'll be at the United's Legends event, which I'm looking forward to. I'll be meeting Wes Brown, Gary Pallister, and Clayton Blackmore.
Way, isn't it? So
yeah. So yeah, I'll be live tomorrow at 4 p.m. Make sure you tune in for that, guys. I'll see you later.